I'm here. I'm so sorry about that, of course. That's my life, and have everything organized, and then everything goes crazy. And literally 2 minutes before 12, I had so many mums messaging, like, I haven't got the link, and um, I want to be on it, and I can't say no. And then I couldn't find the link properly. And so, yeah, that's my life. That's okay. Welcome, everybody who's here. If you'd like to show your faces, I'd love to see your beautiful faces. I know it's Sunday. I'm sure you look gorgeous doing your housework and everything, but I'd love to see you all, because otherwise I'm just looking at myself. But you don't have to if you don't want to. So I'm super duper excited. This is my first time that I'm talking about just toddlers. I have created a amazing, if I do say so myself, toddler sleep masterclass that people can purchase for $35. It's just, I've spent months creating all of my different sort of digital products, and I've really made it as easy as I can make it without it being one-on-one, because the one-on-one obviously is families working with me for 3 weeks minimum, and we always get our babies and toddlers sleeping. But this is a really good start, and so I'd really love your feedback once you get this for free. So you'll get the recording of this, and you'll get the free digital ebook, which I'm loving, like I keep saying. And so I'd love feedback. You guys are the first to get it. So let me know all about it. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to run through it. So it's a verbal thing, so you can keep listening to this, my lovely tone of voice, because sometimes people are too busy to read stuff. I get it. So you'll get the audio of this, or you'll get the video that you can listen to and continually listen to if you want to. And then you get the masterclass as a PDF flipbook. So I'll go through it just to make it a little bit clearer, hopefully. And then if you're still here at the end, I'll try and make it as quick as possible without rushing. Write down some notes, or write down any questions, and I can answer them at the end. I'm just going to try and, make it so I can see you guys as well as myself. Hang on. Okay, great. So I can see the chat if you've got a question and stuff like that. So if you've got any questions, so it's a bit blurry. Oh my goodness, and like, hang on a second. Should have done that. Oh, there we go, a bit clearer. So I'm going to go through it all today. People will keep wanting to be admitted, so I have to keep doing that as well and ask questions at the end. So I actually have found, I've been, absolutely obsessed with sleep for my whole life, but the last 18, 19 years, and I've been a specialist or expert for over 7. I'm actually finding that toddlers are my fave to work with, because everyone's exhausted. The toddlers have complete control of the house because we're frightened of them. Cute little terrors. And it's just a little bit scary. And so then what happens is you're exhausted from behavioural changes, because it's 100% normal for them to push boundaries, hit, bite, all of these crazy things that you think, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with my child, is really developmentally normal. 99.9% of us have to work by choice or not by choice, because life's so expensive. So what's happening is everyone's exhausted. It's hard to battle anyway. Our children are not sleeping well. It's not to anyone's fault, because there's so much information out there. Everyone's then completely confused around sleep as well. And then so they're dysregulated because they're tired. Parents are tired. So it's just a big mess, and we want to normalize that. We don't want to say that that's great, but we also want to normalize that having toddlers is really stressful. And they really, really do liken it to teenagers and toddlers. And I've been through it. And yes, it is actually very, very similar. So it's all about trying to understand ourselves as humans, but as mums, because we are the main caregivers. We are, even if dad is around a lot, the maternal support in the home is researched to be the most important for our children. So it's a lot of weight on our shoulders, and we don't want to damage our kids, but we inevitably do anyway. So it's all about figuring ourselves out a little bit. What's triggering us? How are we triggered by them? It's normal to be triggered, but also how can we work on ourselves? Because what actually happens when our toddlers' behaviour is everyone is like naughty. That's naughty behaviour. We're not only embarrassed, shamed, we think we're crappy parents. You see, little Susie sitting over there at the coffee table, at a, you know, at a restaurant coloring her book, you know, and you're like, well, that's what every child needs to be, but it's actually the other way around. Kids don't want to sit at tables. Kids do not want to go to school. Kids do not want to learn to write their names when they're 3, you know. It just can go, I can go on and on and on about the normal behavior of our toddlers. So I really want you to all understand that there's nothing wrong with your child. Well, typically there's nothing wrong with the child, but they push boundaries, they drive us crazy, they're rude, they're disrespectful, they'll hit us, they'll all these things, but it's all fixable because not only have I lived it, and I continue to live it, I'm now just about certified in conscious parenting, which is incredible. And it's all about being able to understand our children, truly understand them rather than what's happening and trying to fix it. Because we always want to try and fix shitty behavior. And that's, yeah, okay, we need to have our boundaries around that. We don't want our kids hitting us and stuff, but there's ways of dealing with that to lessen it. And I work with toddlers and bigger kids all the time. And like I said, it's actually ends up being my favorite because it changes people's lives. So not sleeping when they're babies is hard, but not sleeping when they're toddlers, and then they're giving you grief during the day, and then they're giving you grief to go to sleep, and giving you grief like waking up in the middle of the night and like, wake up. Everyone is being tortured. So sorry, it's on my phone here and it just keeps locking. So I want you to really take a breath and go, this is normal, but I also have really positive stuff around that. It's not just me saying, oh, that's the norm. Yeah, it's the norm, but you as a mum can absolutely be able to find out ways to support their emotional, you know, regulation, because they can't regulate. They can't. And then what happens when they're frustrated and they've been at daycare all day and they're really pissed off at you, and you just have this like narrative that you drive home going, oh, they're going to really miss me, and it's, you know, I haven't seen them all day, because you miss them, and of course they miss you. But a lot of toddlers just get really annoyed, and then instead of, you know, being, I miss you, mummy, they make you feel like absolute crap. So, you know, this is what happens during the day, this is what's happening in a 24-hour period, and then they're not getting sleep, and then that makes their behavior even worse. So that's why sleep is so important for our parents and for our children. So with toddlers, like I was saying, is a lot of it is behavior management. I don't like saying naughty behavior because it is perceived as naughty behavior. You don't want to be hit, but there's ways that we can work on that, and I'll help you a little bit through this in the masterclass. And it does really come back to a 24-hour period. It's not just about sleep. It's not just about getting to the nighttime and they're not going to sleep and they're really frustrating and they're being stupid and they're asking for a million things, you know, all of that, which I'll talk to you about. But it's also what's happening during the day, what's happening with your relationship through the day. You know, it's very easy to be really disconnected when they're really upsetting, you know, mean to you, because they can be little bullies and break your heart because you do anything for them. And so it's very easy to feel disconnected, and you love them and you give them the support and love, but really inside you're feeling really upset and hurt because they're being mean to you. I know that sounds ridiculous because they're only toddlers, but you love these little people more than life itself. So it's a whole 24-hour period. So I'm going to talk to you about sleep. I'm in the masterclass. It's very specific about what to do around sleep, but I really want to talk about us as parents. How can we be kind to ourselves? How can we try and give ourselves some time, even if it's just going sitting under a tree and breathing for, you know, 5 minutes, or going and putting your feet on the grass outside. Like there's these little glimmers of times that you can have a breather when it's chaos, because it's always often chaos. There's not a lot of houses that aren't, because life is chaotic. So also we will, like I said, going to talk about unique individual toddlers' personalities, as well as developmentally, they're going to push boundaries anyway. And also, again, nothing that I talk about is for anyone to feel any guilt. Like this is all about supporting you mamas, because not only, like I said, are we working, we are still being full-time mums and carers, even though we're not around them all the time. And so then there's so much other dynamics that are happening all the time that I don't think we think about. I know I didn't. Like this conscious parenting stuff, which is amazing, is only stuff I've been doing the last 3 years because we had to, because our children suffered from really severe mental health as teenagers, and what was working as parents wasn't working. So conscious parenting is just being really aware of what we need to do to be ourselves, to be as regulated as we can, to support our children when they're dysregulated. And I always say to my parents when I work with toddlers, just bits like Teflon, you know, if they're hitting and stuff like that. This is a perfect one if you've got kiddos that are hitting, right? And I've seen it. I've been in houses when it's absolute chaos and the toddler is throwing things around and being this and doing that. And the parents are like, see, like, and he's 3 years old or nearly 4. And I knew that they're busy. They love him they loved him so much, and he was so loved, and he had grandparents around, and he had, like, again, this beautiful family, but he was so angry, and then he wasn't sleeping. And so then because it was an in-home, I could see it, you know, and then I really supported them. And, you know, he was hitting mum while I was there, and then I explained to her what to do, and it was really simple. He had been hitting for quite a while, and so she was not allowing it, but she was feeling really guilty, so she just didn't know what to do. And it's really this simple. If they're hitting you, you need to stand up, and then you need to just put your hand and say, and so no is a word that is really important, but needs to be used for really sort of drastic things. So when you're saying, oh no, you've just had that biscuit, you don't, no, 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 no. We say no for every sentence. Instead of saying, no, you've just had a biscuit because I've asked for a biscuit, you just say, you've just had one, mate. You can have one tomorrow. They can have a tantrum. The tantrums can last for up to 20 minutes. And understand that, and then the next day they can have, you know, that biscuit or whatever. So, you know, there's definite boundaries. So this little boy was nuts, you know, like, I mean, like, you think worst case scenario, but I knew there was nothing wrong with him, but they were thinking maybe he might be diagnosable, and I was like, wasn't sleeping, and parents were exhausted, not their fault. So I just said to her, stand up. This is where you say no. Say, don't hit mummy, that hurts. And he just stopped. And she was really shocked because she hadn't done it. She might have said, no, no, stop it. But when you're really sort of like really loving and caring like we are all the time, and they do something that's not great, you don't walk away. You stand up because you're taller than them. No, don't hit. That hurts mummy. Might hit your leg. He's not really going to hurt you. You take one step away. Don't hit mummy. It really hurts. You know, please don't hit mummy. You will find by just simple boundaries like that, they'll stop. And he stopped. From that day, he stopped. And you know what happened is when he'd been throwing things and they were like, see, and I'm like, just let him throw stuff. Because I kept saying, no, 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 don't touch it. I'm like, just let him. And then have everything that needs to be broken or might be broken up or whatever. Within 2 days, he'd stopped all of that because it was like attention. It's like attention is what they're wanting. My mum used to say it's like a dog, you know, like, dogs need attention. They might do naughty things to get attention, which they do. Kids can be the same. So he was throwing things and they were looking at me like, are you crazy? And I'm like, it's all right. And just let him do it. And he just calmed right down because I was trying to fix him and saying, no, 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 no. And it was just making him worse. So anyway, they did that. And within 5 minutes, he stopped, just sat down. And then he got up and then he'd come and sat on mummy's knee and started playing with her hair. And that was him saying sorry. He wasn't going to say sorry, but he knew, you know, and she wasn't being aggressive. She wasn't whatever. So there's so much that I can share with this, but I see it all the time and I see it working. So when we get sleep, great. And also he learned how to sleep all night. And then behaviorally he changed too because he wasn't tired, because I often with the bigger kiddos up to 7 years of age, parents are like, I think they're diagnosable. I think they've got autism. I think they're ADD. I think they've got all of these. And I'm like, look, absolutely. You know, that is really common. I'm diagnosed. I've had it my whole life. My kids are diagnosed with ADD. Not everyone's got it. So there are legitimate issues with neurodiverse kiddos, but they can still learn to sleep and they can still learn to have boundaries. So I know I'm not even talking about sleep yet, but I'm really hoping you understand that we've got to look at the whole behavior of the whole day, you know, and it's still having those boundaries and control, but in a bit of different way. So I'll keep talking about it. So if we really look at that, that's huge. Also the different type of personalities, because you could have 3 kids and then you might have 2 that were sort of easygoing and just did what you did what you asked. Then you got the one that just goes, no, thanks. And then, so this is what we talk about. So sleep, super, super important, like I said. Now, look, when you get to, when families work with me one-on-one, I will 100% get your baby sleeping, or toddler, any child, but toddler sleeping. And then everything sort of falls into place. There are going to be times that they get sick, they might get teeth, all that sort of stuff. It doesn't mean that they will lose their ability to sleep. So again, go through this, listen to it again, go through the masterclass that I'll send you. It's not going to be, it might absolutely 100% work for you, but I want you to know that while you're implementing this stuff that I'm going to suggest, and it's not going to, you feel like it's just not working, do the one-on-one with me, because I will 100%. I'm an expert in the field. So this is really specific and all my top tips, but it's not the one-on-one stuff. So just be aware that once you're introducing stuff, try and stick to what I'm saying, and hopefully you'll get results, and let me know, and definitely ask away. But don't feel if in a week or two it's just not progressing, that your child's broken and there's something wrong with them. Do the one-on-one with me, because I'll get it fixed. And also what happens with teething and sickness, for example, if they've learnt the ability to go to sleep by themselves happily and get through the night and come in and out of sleep cycles, it's really, really normal to wake in the middle of the night, but we need to support them to master the skill of independently going down. And then when they come in and out of those sleep cycles, they don't need you, they don't need water, they don't need anything, right? Because when we sleep at night, it's restorative time. So it's bone growth, neural pathways developed. We shouldn't be drinking, we shouldn't be eating, excuse me. And I know that a lot of people do go, oh, well, I drink water. Totally fine if you do, but it's quite habitual. So, and I can talk way more about that too, but there's just so much to talk about. I want to try and get it in the hour. So a lot of it's the personality. Oh, sorry, someone's just mute yourself if you've muted yourself accidentally. Sorry about that. Oh, someone's sorry, just have to mute you all. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, so the sleep approach is, we are not doing cry it out. We are not going to leave them. You know, again, there's so much misinformation out there, and it's got worse over the last 3 years. I look at stuff and I feel anxiety for my families, because I'm like, how do they think they're ever going to be able to get sleep when these people are saying it's just normal? It's normal for them not to sleep. It's normal for them to co-sleep. And if you want to co-sleep, absolutely co-sleep. The biggest thing with parenting, when I get to have these little eyes on me to talk about it, because I'm so excited about it, sharing this knowledge, is you do whatever you want. And if you want to co-sleep to 10, do it. It's not going to mess up your kid and all that sort of stuff. But basically, we live in a world where all of us are so busy, and life is not easy. It's just not. Even 3 or 4 years ago, I was a stay-at-home mum for 10 years. And that just really doesn't exist anymore. People just can't or don't want to, and that's totally fine. But what that means is people need sleep. So when you co-sleep, you don't typically get great sleep. Again, if it does work for you, well, beautiful. And, you know, one of my favorite things was to sleep with my children at times, but they didn't like sleeping with me because they like their own space, and having them cuddle you. It's beautiful. But particularly as they get older, it just doesn't tend to work. So if whatever you feel like you need to do, absolutely do it. There's this masterclass, and what I'm talking about is never to make anyone feel bad for any choices that they make. It's just learning stuff and food for thought about what you might want, and understanding if sleep is something that you want, it's absolutely something that they can master. It's a skill that they can master. So it's a biological thing. If we go to sleep really in a perfect environment, nice and dark, good temp, comfy bed, comfy pajamas that they're not going up your butt crack, you know, like all that stuff, earplugs, whatever, then you'll come in and out of sleep cycles and not particularly wake. You might wake occasionally, fluff up your pillow, go back to sleep. That is a biological thing. It's a safety protection for, you know, if a saber-toothed lion was going to come into your cave. It's exactly the same. Our biological makeup is the same as cavemen. So I have found our fire alarm's gone off, and we haven't woken until our bodies have gone into the lighter stage of sleep. So it's really scary in regards to that, because a heavy, deep sleep, if you got woken from, it's that you wouldn't know where you are, sort of thing. So it's such a beautiful biological thing that we all can master. Our bodies can, some are better than others, but our babies and our toddlers can definitely, they go down beautifully at the beginning of the night. Everything falls into place. So, so basically, that's in a very small nutshell about the stuff that I think about is our parenting, how we can sort of support them when they're not being able to regulate. We've got to try and give ourselves some space to be able to regulate. And I've got lots of tools on that. If you want to ask me about what to do with that, you know, breathing techniques and stuff, like I had to do it all the time, and I didn't when they were small and toddlers, and I used to just lose my shit. And then, you know, and I'd get so upset and I'd cry and I wasn't regulated. And then I feel bad because, you know, I was doing the best I could, and they weren't bad kids, but, you know, if they had behavior situations where I felt was very stressful, I couldn't deal with it. And I was a stay-at-home mum. I didn't even go to work. I stayed in my jammies most of the days, but I was still really stressed. So now, as I've got older and I've got these techniques, I'll just go, I'm just leaving. And they were like, "Oh, why?" And then so I literally go into my room, close the door, I lean on my door so they don't come in, and I start doing like box breathing. So it's like 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4. And it absolutely works. And then I regulate my system a little bit and I come out. If it's really bad and it's nighttime, I will go out and I'll put my feet on the grass and I'll do that. So it sounds so simple, but it enables us a little bit of time to regulate our nervous system when it's crazy. It's loud. If you've got more than one child, they can fight. You know, they're climbing tables, they're, you know, throwing things. Like, it's normal, but it's not normal. It's like very stressful for our bodies, especially when you've been at work all day. Okay, so these are the main things in regards to sleep that I want you now to sort of shift your focus on, because I know I've talked more about sort of behavior and parenting stuff, but that's a really important part of it, is their sleep environment. So there's so many lovely things out there like riffraffs and stars and lullabies and so many gadgets. They don't need any, right? If they've got a riffraff, beautiful, they can keep it, but don't use the music or don't use the sounds, because it stops at 45 minutes, which is a sleep cycle. And so then it stops and it's quiet, and then their bodies come into the lighter stage of sleep and wake up. So riffraffs are fine, but take the batteries out. Uh-oh, it's broken. Dark, we want it pitch black. Now, if they are afraid of the dark, and that can happen around 3, we don't want to, why are you frightened? Where's the monster? We don't want to talk about that. It's like, are you okay? No worries. Well, mummy will sit here. So we're basically trying to say, I'm here for you, without feeding into it. I'm not saying that they don't have nightmares or whatever, but we really want to sort of downplay it enough that you hear them. You're not ignoring them, but you're not asking what it is, because then they go, oh, there's a big purple monster under my bed, and oh, it has, what color teeth has it got? Yellow. What color are its eyes? Red. Don't do any of that. So it's like, oh, okay, no worries. If they want to talk about it, go, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds a bit scary, but mummy's here for you. Mummy's here for you. Grab a chair, sit beside them, and sort of help regulate. If they're getting frightened and they say it's the dark, I think sometimes they run out of vocab of what they're scared of. You can introduce a nightlight, but it needs to be a pink reddish hue or a gold sort of orange hue, and not very bright. We don't want stars. We don't want lullabies. We don't want music. We don't want all of that. We want it just very simple, nice and cuddly with their teddies in their room. I tend to find also with kiddos up to about 6 or 7, when it becomes winter, a lot of them don't stay under their doonas. So you can get a big onesie. I think they go up to like size 7. I think I might actually figure out how to buy some of those myself, because I love sleeping with them. But no, for bigger kiddos, like there's not many around, and you need their feet covered also, and a heater. So the biggest, my favorite is an oil heater. And you can get what's called a heater mate from Bunnings to help with the cost, and you just take the edge off in winter. So if they do come out of their doona, that they're not going to get freezing, because that's going to contribute to wakings too. So you want the sleep environment perfect. And so if you have white noise, love it. No more than 65 decibels, and that is really just to dull out kitchen noises, dog noises, car noises, and all that sort of stuff. So perfect environment is what we need. We also need it 10 out of 10 darkness for sunlight. So especially little boys, in summer when the sun comes up, they're up at 4:30, 4:45, pitch black. So really cheap, unattractive way is alfoiling the windows, big strips of alfoil. Don't smooth it to the window, but you need no light. Like, I had to alfoil the girls' windows until they were 10. So, because as soon as it got to summer and the sun poked in, they were up at 5. So pitch black for the sun, because it's a circadian rhythm. As soon as, about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, melatonin wears off, cortisol starts to increase, which is getting ready to wake up. And as soon as the sun pops up, they wake up. So that's really, really important. So we really don't need any gadgets. Children from about 3, 2.5, 3, you can start with doonas and pillows. I also say don't rush from a cot. If they're really happy in there, keep them in there. Get their sleep sorted before they go to a big kid's bed. If they're going to go to a big kid's bed, you need to set up that room that they have a baby gate, or some way that they're not going to run around the house in the middle of the night or go make themselves a cup of milk, So perfect environment, and then don't rush to get out of the cot. We don't want any loose cords, super, super safe. So especially around curtains, anything that basically you're going to have your monitor there to watch them, but when you're asleep, you don't want them to be able to hurt themselves. So that's any strings, cords, anything that it's unsafe. You need to make sure that room is super, super safe. And really any monitors on lights, heaters, anything, you need to masking tape all of them up. That's it with the room environment, and a nice temp during winter. The oil heater is my favorite. And basically when you go into the sleep plan, which I'll talk about in a minute, you've got to think to yourself, don't be too frightened. Don't give in to any requests and demands, and try not to use the word no. No was used for hitting and stuff like that and really big things. But what you've got to do is try and be one step ahead. So for example, you are going to do the bedtime routine, and then they go, I want a drink of water. Okay, go, drink of water. And then the next night, what I want you to do is give them a drink of water just before they go to bed. Then they'll go, oh, my finger hurts. I need a Band-Aid. Okay, put a Band-Aid on. Next night, water, Band-Aid. So literally get to a point where they've run out of things to ask for. That could be 10 things you've got to do all in a row every single night. And then they can't ask for anything because they're going to go, extra food before bed. Anything that they're asking for, you need to be one step ahead. Take note of it so you don't forget. And the next night, you're doing all of it. Give them some options. So if it's like books, you go, right, you've got 3 books and you can pick them. You do the 3 books. I want another book. Again, instead of saying the word no, you just go, oh, mate, you just had, oh, darling, you've had your 3 books. It's time to brush our teeth. Might be a tantrum. Let them have the tantrum. Don't leave. Just stay there. Just go, I know it's annoying. I know you want another book. It's time for bed. We need to brush our teeth. And then don't talk too much. Just stay there with them until they have the tantrum. And that's all you've got to keep doing every night, staying strong with your boundaries. And then they'll get you and you're like, oh no, gosh. And then you give it to them. Then the next night, that's part of your boundary too. Going to the toilet, brushing to anything that they're asking for, you need to do before, and you're going to take a seat beside them. So we don't need grow eggs. We don't need any of those gadgets, like I said. And don't rush cot to bed transition. It's not an age thing. You might want them to be in a bed when they start kindy, but it's really, if they're happy in there, keep them. So that's the main thing around environment, keeping it nice and safe. Talking about toddlers' sleep cycles or human sleep cycles is like, the REM, non-REM you probably would have heard of, is in and out of sleep cycles all night. And what you want is that they're really comfortable in their bed and they're safe and they feel secure, that they don't need you. And so what happens with toddlers, we just go down the slippery slope of here, all right, I'll lay with you. Oh, you can sleep with me. I'm not getting you sleep any night at all. And then you're like, how do I fix this? So it's really just setting up these beautiful, nurturing, secure boundaries and not budging the best you can. Always reach out to me as well if you're getting stuck on something. And then when we're talking about toddlers, typically they'd be on one nap. Again, it's an age appropriate thing. You can message me if you need to know this. But you sort of start with 2 hours max. And then as they get bigger, if it starts impacting their nights, you just slowly cap it to an hour and a half, an hour to 30 minutes. I love kiddos to sleep, have a day nap up to 3 or 4. But that's not always doable because they're at kindy and stuff like that a lot earlier. But so 2 hours, and then we start capping as they get through to age 3. And then again, sort of age appropriate windows, from your 16-month-old, from when they wake from that nap, it's about a 5.5 hour wake window. When they're about 3, it's a 6-hour wake window. When they have dropped their nap and really consistently dropped their nap, their bedtime needs to be 6 p.m, which is really, really hard for people because they work and stuff and they're like, I can't do that. And I'm like, I know you feel like you can't, but everyone needs to adjust and look at their day. Okay, I get home from daycare at 4:30. And so maybe have dinners ready. I know it's a lot, but maybe do a big cook up on a Sunday so dinners are ready. So by 5 o'clock, they're having dinner, and you're sitting with them having that one-on-one, and then you're having the bath time. And so you sort of don't try and rush it because they don't like that either. They want to have that one-on-one with you. And then if they feel like it's been a bit rushed, like they're playing and you're cleaning up, then when it comes to bedtime, that's when they're like, I haven't seen you all day, so you're going to sit here. You're going to stay with me. So you want to have lots and lots of one-on-one. And then when they go to bed, you do the cleaning up and all of that exhausting stuff we don't want to do, but lots of one-on-one time before bedtime. So even if you can't get 6, you need to get as close to 6 as possible. So it might be 6:30, But again, not to put stress on you, just to be aware they need to really have a really early bedtime if they've dropped their nap. And that can happen pretty quickly. So again, this is all in the masterclass. I can't go through everything that's in the PDF because there's so much, but you'll be able to read it. And also you need to respond to them being upset. Again, it's quite exhausting. There might be some kiddos that whinge and cry a lot more, which is even more exhausting. But always there's a layer behind the whinging. There's a layer behind, it's like those, is it babushka dolls or whatever they, like you've got the big mama and then inside's the different size of children. It's the same as their concerns and worries, and they can't tell you, and you don't know what's going on either. You're like, why are you whinging all the time? But typically it just goes back to the basics of they might be really annoying and might be really not being nice to you, but they actually just want you. They want you just to, even if you're sitting in the lounge and they're doing a jigsaw and they don't want you to do a jigsaw, that's fine. They just actually want you to be sitting there, not on their phones. I know it's very tempting. I'm on the phone all the time. My kids tell me off all the time. Even as teenagers, I've got to be like, get off your phone, even though they don't talk to me. They just want me to be there and not on my phone. Yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. 3 bags full. So yeah, one-on-one is really super duper important. And I know that you're around them, and I know that it's not like you're leaving them, but it's just really engage one-on-one, or really like giving them that time of, okay, I'm just sitting here. Dishes need to be done. So many things need to be done, but at this time leading up to bed, and it might be a rush day, it needs to be done when they go to sleep, when they go to bed. Early mornings are painful, but we need to get the initial set down done before we fix the early mornings. And if we have an overtired child trying to get them to 7 o'clock thinking they're going to sleep to 7, it works the opposite. They have little cortisol surges, and you'll see it. They'll be quite calm and like a bit tired, a bit zoning out, and then they're like running around and jumping off the walls, and that's cortisol surges. We want to miss that because that will contribute to wakings, and then early morning wakings too. So 6 o'clock to 6:30 bedtime for a non-napping child. Look at my wake windows charts, which are in here, or age appropriate for when they've woken for the nap. Okay, so this is the sleep program. We're getting to the nitty gritty. So again, this is really, really a guideline. It's not my one-on-one. It's what I use for my one-on-one, but also understanding every child is different. You must understand that. But if we do implement this, we can see changes. Give yourself a month. Give yourself a month of these basic tools that I'll give you. And then you should see improvement, and use those boundaries and foundations for the day too. So don't let them hit you. Don't let them do the things you don't like doing. Message me. I really want to share all this conscious parenting stuff because I've got so many tips on it. I've got so many tips. If you're really stuck with, oh my gosh, what I'm going to do, message me, DM me, because I'll tell you all about it. Now, the biggest thing too is TVs are awesome. Don't be frightened of them. Everyone tells you they can't watch TV. Of course they can, right? Nice chill out time. You can be watching Bluey with them, and so that's fine. But the last 20, 30 minutes, the TV needs to be off. And that's where you're going to do that one-on-one. So that might be you sitting in the room because they're quite happy, actively playing. And then maybe 15 minutes before, grab your books, wind down, one-on-one, wind down. The other thing is that kiddos get bigger, when they're probably quite verbal. When they go to sleep, that's when they want to tell you about their day. That's when their worries come out. That's when they have anxiety with these things. And anxiety is normal, so we don't want to be frightened of anxiety. But that's when the times that you want to not be rushing if you can, because I know I used to speed read so I could get them to sleep, so I could go out and have a glass of wine. I know, bad, but that's what I used to do, because I just wanted them to go to sleep. And so if there's an issue and a challenge around sleep, give yourself a month of changing things up and being there for them, grabbing a chair. You don't have to have open conversations, just like, no, mate, or no, darling, I'm here. But you might find they start talking, and that's a really, and even as they get older, and even for teenagers, try and stay connected. I always talk about connection before correction. Again, that's from Dr. Shafali, who I'm becoming certified with conscious parenting. Remember, even if that's the one thing when you're like, connection before correction. You can talk about correcting later, but not in the moment. How can I connect with them when they're losing it? How can I connect to them when they're really upset? Because there's a reason, because you're their safe space. So that's a really big mantra I use in my head all the time. Even the problem is when they're teenagers, they swear at you. The same, but different, but they might swear. Actually, they do swear. I don't like it, but they do. So there's a few ways of doing the sleep. The gradual parent withdrawal, which is what I always will go to. So that's because we don't want to add extra stress. Our kids are already next level stressed than they were 10 years ago because there's so much more expected of them. And, you know, we as parents want to give them this amazing life, and sometimes it's just too busy for them, and they don't like that. They don't want to be busy. They just want to hang out at home like the good old days, you know. So that increases to the stress level. So we need to bring down that stress for them. And that's why gradual parent withdrawal is my fave, because we're there for them. It's okay. I'm here for you. It's exhausting. You want to go out, I know, but if you want their sleep to get on track, you've got to be there for them, and then you've got to withdraw yourself. So again, I won't go into great big detail. It's all in the masterclass, but it's basically we're going to be there for them. We're going to set those boundaries. We're going to be really strong with trying not to say no. For example, you know, you've given a sip of water, you're sitting in there, which I'll explain, and then 5 minutes later, I'm thirsty. And so we'd go, normally we'd say, oh, no, you've just had some. But instead of saying, no, you've just had some, you just go, you still say you've had some, you just don't say no. You just say, you just had some, mate. Just had some, darling. You can have some in the morning. It's okay. Just close your eyes, you know, and sort of they'll have a hissy fit, and you've just got to stay calm and with the boundaries. They're not going to be thirsty 5 minutes after they had a drink of water. Also, don't keep the water bottles in there with them, because again, that becomes habitual, and they'll wake up to drink and then go, oh, I'm awake, and ask for the parent. So you give them the water, you take the water with you. So being in there is super, super important. And then, you know, all of those things that I've just said, no night lights and stuff. If they need a night light, that's fine, but it needs to be really dim. And there's so many tools. If they start doing things to drive you crazy, like I said, message me, because I've got lots of tricks up my sleeve. So basically the whole idea is we want to bring a chair in there, and we want to sit beside the bed for 3 nights, and then we want to shift it to the middle of the room, then the door, then out. You might need to stay in that room a little bit longer. They might panic when you start shifting, but they're going to be like, oh, excellent, I've got my parent in here. Do not lay in the bed with them. Bring in that chair. And this is where you're like, it's okay, mum's here or dad's here, time for sleep. Shh, shh, shh. So you're regulating the situation. Every time you shift that chair, they won't be happy. No. Shift it back here. No. So then you just go, it's okay, I'm here. Now, that again is it's real simple form, like not big conversations. If you can, you can have a little bit of a conversation, but as it's going on, you want to be going, time for sleep. That, you know, just keeping that really loving, nurturing boundary. Time for sleep. So you get to shift in the chair. They don't like it. This is again will be in the plan that you get. You can, I'm here. I'm still here. It's okay. If they're just being ridiculous, you do then use a consequence. It's really quick and easy, but they do really work well with rewards and incentive, as we do. Ooh, thumbs up. And consequences that aren't too hard, but just setting the boundary. If you just think, oh God, it's driving me crazy, you just say, you need to go to sleep, love, or darling, or mummy's going to leave. They don't stop. You get up out of the chair, you go out the door, close the door for like a minute. They're going to come out, bang the door, come back. You just come back in, hop into bed, and mummy will stay. So it's really these simple things to, you know, you think, gosh, that sounds so simple. You're going to keep it really simple sentences. And so you've got consequence. And so you keep that consequence, I'm in there, consequence, I'm in there, and then you try and move the chair out. And then by the sort of 10th day, you might have the door open and the child can see your foot. You know, like it's like crazy how slow you've got to do it. But try to not give in too much. Just go, okay, I'm here, but you need to go to sleep. And they get really comforted by that. And so that's, you know, could be up to 2 weeks of you doing that. And so it gives their body the ability to calm down and then end up liking, their body likes the sleep. And biologically, and the miracle of what I can do for families is allow that baby or toddler for its body to learn how to sleep. Like sleeping is just like learning to walk, potty training, all of that. Sleep's the same. They can absolutely learn how to do it. So basically the gradual withdrawal is that, using the consequence if needed, but trying to stay calm. You're absolutely allowed to go to the toilet or something, or you absolutely can have a break if they're driving you crazy. And that can be, you need to go to sleep or mummy's going to leave, and you leave and you might do the breath, you know, like you're at the door and they're banging at the door and you're like, box breathe to regulate. Come back in, do it again. So you're regulating the situation. And so they can just absolutely butt up against that. But the more that you're firm with that loving boundary, they actually feel really safe and protected. And so the more we do that with love and support, then they just really really go to it, and it's like really beautiful, and then they get to learn to sleep. So that's the main things. They're the main things. Again, it's much more detailed in the PDF. Night waking. So you've got the warning system, which is you need to close your eyes, or mummy's going to leave, or, you need to stop talking, or mummy's going to leave. And you don't want to keep warning that. It needs to be, basically said and done. So then they see, and they're like, and then you've got to come in and say, hop back into bed and I'll stay. So there's these very simple sentences, but they go, okay, all right, I can do that. Pushing boundary, but you're keeping firm with yours. Night waking. So it's exhausting, especially when you've got to get up in the day, but you've got to do exactly the same thing. So I always recommend a baby gate or something that they can't roam around the house, like I said. If you can't do, and again, if they're really fighting that, you just say, oh, it's like a, dragon's den, and let's decorate it with dragons and dinosaurs or whatever, like stickers, and, so they can open the gate and close it, and it's for protection, like make up stories. Play's fun. Like, they love all of that imaginary stuff. So get them part of that. And then, so then that they're not, making themselves a cup of tea in the middle of the night. Because I've had toddlers actually climb out and get themselves milk. It's quite cute, but not cute. So get a gate or close the door if you can. Make it a bit of a game. With if that you can't or whatever, and they come into your bed, you really don't say too much. You've got to get up, get them to walk back themselves, and like very simply, vanilla but caring, hop into bed, or hop into bed. Basically, you just got to say, hop into bed, time for sleep. If you can leave straight away and go back into bed, great. And I would just say, mummy's going to back to bed, mummy's tired, see what happens. If they start having a hissy fit, you've got to sit in that chair wherever it's located. And so, it's exhausting, I know, but it absolutely works, And like I said, I've had so many parents that are like, I think something's wrong with my child. They won't go to the toilet by themselves. They've got anxiety in the house and all this, and it all goes. When we set all these loving boundaries, and the parents are like, this is not going to work. I said, look, I hear you. It's your child. Let's do this. And then I guide and support them. And at the end, they're like, oh my gosh, they've got a different child. The child has no anxiety. The child goes to the toilet by themselves. The child's not kicking and hitting anymore. Like, it's literally a miracle. So night wakings, walk back, vanilla, no lovey-dovey stuff. It's just like, time for sleep. Mummy's here. Mummy's tired. It's nighttime, like basic conversations. So the other thing around that, like I said, is consequence. And then another really great thing, but it needs to be like into the 3rd or 4th week. So you've got some progression and you're thinking, gosh, incentive, rewards. We all work really well for incentives. Like, people go, no, don't do that. It works. And they'll go, no, I don't want it, but they do. So think about something they really want, and you go to the shops with them, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but something that they really would normally not get unless it was like a birthday or something. They've got to purchase it. Go, right, you've done so well with your sleep. So proud of you. This is what we've got to do. See this you've just purchased? You've got to go through the night, but when you wake up, you grab your teddy and you go back to sleep. And when you do that for 2 nights, or even 1 night, doesn't really matter because it takes them a little while, you get your toy or book or whatever it is. And so every night before you go to bed, you just say, remember, have it so they can see it. You're doing so well with your sleep. You're so brave. You're amazing. And if you can get through the night and not call out to mummy and daddy, grab your teddy and go back to sleep. You get it in the morning. So of course they're not going to do it straight away. And then they'll be really upset because they'll want it in the morning. You have those open conversations. You did really well, like really well. You can try again tonight, and they just get excited about it. And so consequence, and once we're at the tail end and there's just a little bit of wakings and stuff, incentive works a treat. They work really, really well. So that, again, this is all way more detailed in the plan, but that's your basic idea of like support, nurturing, boundaries, slow progression. If you're at a point where they've been okay and they're okay by themselves, but just it's still a bit challenging, you can do a leave and check, which is in there as well. It's not my go-to because it can cause stress and anxiety for the child, and then habitually they just become stressed and anxious about something they don't need to be. So we just need to look at making that your second option. If you're already doing like a leave and check and it's okay and the child's not too upset, you can still stay leave and check. Again, it's more detail in here. I just don't want families to stay out forever and not go and say, it's okay, it's time for sleep. Like, you've really got to check in with them every 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes. Like, the whole thing is we need to reduce their stress. around it, even though we're highly stressed. Who's helping us? No one. But we need to really reduce the stress around it. It's exhausting because you're not going to get much back at the beginning, but just think about the light at the end of the tunnel. Take that first step into the tunnel. And on the other side is a sleeping child and a much happier parent. So in a nutshell, that is really, truly my sole passion around parenting and sleep. And it's like in a nutshell, because I could go and talk about this for hours and hours and hours. What is the time? Because I want people to be able to ask questions. Yeah, we've got about 15 minutes. I will send you through the PDF, and it's much more detailed about all of the stuff I've just discussed. I'd love your feedback, because you guys will be the first to have received it, because I really want people to understand that you're not stuck, even if you've got a child that we like to call like spicy, stubborn, exhausting, all of those words. They can learn to sleep, and it's just harder on us to just not give in, because we're just exhausted. Like, I still do it. I still give in, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So that is it in a nutshell. I will send that through to you after we've finished today. You'll get this recording you can keep, and the masterclass that you can get through. And I'd love your feedback, like I said, and if you've got any questions at all, DM me. Be great. So with that, I know I did a lot of talking. Has anyone got any questions? If you have, put your hand up, or let me see you, and then I will answer your questions. Hello, anyone there? No one's got any questions. Well, that's good. Oh, okay. I have got a question. Paige, do you want to, you put a question there. Paige goes, how do you work on not holding a grudge against your child? Oh, yeah. After a big, huge meltdown where they scream and hit, and it happens daily. This is such a beautiful question, Paige. Are you there so you could come on for us to talk? Because I'd really like to. You there? There you are. Beautiful Paige. So Paige is actually one of my beautiful specialists. So happily supporting me through sleep, which is amazing. And so that's a really amazing question. And it is really, the answer is, it's really hard. And for example, we still have the same situation with the one particularly that was a hitting one and the angry one. And she does that as a teenager, and he's like behind her back.
That's me all day, every day.
Yeah. And so let's normalize that and don't feel bad about it, because you know what? When you've got that situation, it feels like the worst bully that you've ever had in your life. And so how do you not hold a grudge? So the reality is you're going to be upset, and you're going to want to cry every day, and you want to go to bed. You go to bed every night and you think, I failed again today. It's all on you. And, you've got to try really hard to just reset for the next day. To answer that, that's probably my answer. And I know it's hard, because I know, CJ's always away with, with his roster, and you're single parenting, so you don't get to debrief very much. So you're in like this shitty bubble vortex. That's the same, right? So basically the biggest thing is, and I know this sounds so like ridiculous answer, you have to have times of going and having that breather, right? So you've got the tools of don't hit and whatever, but she's still going to do it. I know that that's her personality, and you clash a lot. But I know I get it.
She's crazy.
Exactly. And so, and you are basically a stay-at-home mum too. So let's everyone know that too, like talking about the, the difficulty of work and trying to, get shifts and work, and, your the dad of the kiddos isn't there. So it's a lot of pressure for you. Then you've got a spicy child. And we've talked about this before too, is that, and this is where it comes back to the conscious parenting, is it's our triggers, right? So it's not your fault. By I'm no mean your fault, but it is understanding how to be kinder to yourself. And I'm not kidding you. If she's really not even responding to the hit, like, standing up, don't hit, mama, then, you know, you need to go outside.
Mm.
And have you got grass?
Yeah. Yep.
This is stupid. I know it's stupid, but I have been in that situation so many times, and Dave was never home at night, like ever. Still really not either. So I know it's not FIFO, but I don't. I've really parented the kids mostly by myself,
Mm.
and I wasn't, like I said, really great at emotionally regulating myself. And so I would be upset, but then I get angry. So I'm like what they call like a fixer fighter. And so
Yep.
we can all fit into these categories, and we all do. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's what I am. So I'm a fixer. Let's fix it, fix it, fix it. And then it's not getting fixed. And then I'm a screamer and I'm a fighter. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, get out. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Not as much anymore. I probably do it once a month. And then because they're older, they're like, what's wrong with you, mum? You know, and I'm like, there's dog shit on the, I've come home and there's da, 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 because this is what happens. Like this is the normal stuff. So, and it's much harder when you've got little ones. They are fully dependent on you. Like
Mm.
for me, with them being older now, I definitely can have those breathers a bit more. But honest to God, the grudge, let's just be real, and that you're going to have grudges every day.
Mm.
Right? And so at night time, process it. Don't feel bad about it. Just go, if
Mm.
I don't like that behavior, and talk to yourself. I know journaling, no one likes doing that either, but just, you know,
Yeah.
literally accepting it. So it's really shit, meaning you're not going to accept the behavior, but accepting that's what it is. Like, you have a spicy child. You've told me all along she's like that. She's not all of a sudden going to change, right?
No, it's hard
So,
because she's so nice. What I find the hardest,
yes.
like for example, this morning, that's why I'm asking, because this morning I got up, went to make a coffee, my milk was off, and so I couldn't even have a coffee. So
I
that
mean,
just
that's
started on
melting
a
down.
shitty note.
That's like I'm
But
going to stab someone in the face. Like, you know,
yes,
like,
it was.
yeah,
And then she thinks the TV is pretty much hers, and we have to watch what she wants to watch. And so this morning she asked to watch this particular thing, and I said, no, let's watch something that we can all enjoy, because I don't feel like watching guessing Disney princess songs on YouTube this morning.
yeah.
And then that was it. Absolutely lost the plot. Like, she was on the floor screaming from her gut, screaming and like smacking a cup against the kitchen bench. And I was just like, I was so angry. Like, and I lost it. I screamed so loud, my voice hurt like afterwards, which I haven't actually done that in a long time. But I just was like, and I just, then afterwards she got over it and she was giving me a cuddle and she was over it. And I'm like,
I know.
no, I'm still really pissed off.
I
That's
know.
where I struggle. It's
Yeah.
the afterwards, and then for like half a day, I'm just like, I love you, but go away. I don't like you.
Yeah.
But she's all like, oh, cool. What's the next thing we're going to fight about?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't care.
Yeah. And so
That's what I find hard.
Yeah. And so the reality is, you have an adult brain, so we
Mm.
can't switch on and off, right? It just doesn't happen. Children, teenagers up to 23 can, and I have it now. Like, it's like I have a toddler. She'll be an absolute, I mean, top-notch bully and
Mm.
nasty, whatever. And I'm sitting on the couch like going, keep it together. That's so mean. I can't remember. And then I'm like trying to process it, trying not to hold the grudge, because if it was anybody else, I'm like, get out
Cut
of
them off.
my life. And then literally she comes back in, 10 minutes later. I'm like, God, she's got bipolar. Like, what the hell?
But I want to know.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's actually their brains haven't fully developed. They don't fully develop until in their mid-20s. So their frontal cortex is not developed. It's just not. And so they can switch on and off. Doesn't even matter. It's like it's a dysregulation, and that is simply it. So she is really a child that shows you her anger. And the biggest thing is I'm not minimalizing it, but just to go, acceptance of that is what she is, right? Instead of going fighting or fixing or something's wrong with her, doesn't make it easy. I mean, let me tell you, I've shed a lot of tears of like, poor me, because I'm like, can't I just have like easygoing kids? So accepting that that's what she's like, knowing that that's the case, understanding it's quite normal to have a grudge, but just working on that, right?
Yeah.
You're working on it because you love her. She loves you, right? The other thing to try and stop that thing happening a little bit is, if you already know, like you just explained, that she doesn't like sharing the TV and that, when it's nice and calm and you're liking her, this is the thing. We love our children. I would die. I probably would die for my children. I say I probably would hide a dead body for them if they needed. Don't know if I would, but literally, I would do anything for my children. I think all the mums I know would. And we don't say that lightly, right? So you are that mum. You're such a beautiful mum, but I know you feel you're hard on yourself. Is that that have the conversation when you're cuddling, and we're in a good space with her and go, all right, sweetheart. Because how old is she again? 4 now?
She's almost 4.5,
Ah,
but she's really switched on.
she's very switched on. So,
Mm.
and this is what I have had to do with the spicy teenager, is anything that I know is going to piss her off. When she's in a happy mood and I'm in a happy mood, then I go, look, can we just have a chat about this situation? And so what I do is like, okay, so this is what's happening, la la la. I said, this is your choice. So if you choose to do that or act like that again, then the consequence is I take your phone for half a day.
Yeah.
That's literally she'd rather die. So it's so for her, right? Have a very simple conversation and say, look, I know you want to watch your stuff. I get it, right? You got to hear it out. But we all live in this house and we've got one TV. And so, it would be really good if this, right? So get her to answer. So what do you think? Like, what do you think about that? She's a smart kid, right? So then you come to like a bit of an agreement. You might even write things down. Okay, so in the morning, she gets to have her time with this TV, and then at lunchtime, mummy has whatever, right? And have it on the couch, right? The more that we repetitive talking about these boundaries, it's like if you had times tables up, we have definitions of timetables. We have alphabet up on the wall. We have times tables. Behavior is the same thing. We've talked about this. So it's like, simple stuff. And then she is part of it. Because what happens when you've got smart, spicy kids that do not want to be told what to do, they need to be part of the decision making, which is, I know, goes not in our mind normally, but she's smart enough to be part of that. So when you're regulated, a bit more regulated, she starts doing that, just go, remember, darling, we talked about this yesterday and you agreed to this. And it's really starting to implement that. But the biggest thing is try not to be hard on yourself, and also know that it's really normal to have a grudge, and it's really normal not to like your child at times.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't love them. And I know it might be uncomfortable for people to hear this, but I would literally do anything for my children. I'd do it now. Like we were at dinner and on Saturday night, and we're having a lovely time. People we hadn't seen for a long time, really good friends. And by 8:30, Izzy was really distressed, and I came home. And they were like, no, don't leave, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, my kids need to know, like, they've got boundaries, and I'm very firm with stuff, but they need to know when they're in distress, whatever. So it's just building that stuff of like, but again, what I'm getting to is like, but I do also have times where I'm not liking them. and like they go, I don't really tell them that, of course, but like and love's very different. So I think more that we talk about the normality of how challenging parenting is, and that it's normal to have a grudge. We don't like it. We feel uncomfortable with it, but it's the real thing. And so then, keep talking to yourself about the tools that you can implement, because she's not going to change.
No. I know, I'm trying to harness it so that she's not running a gang. She's like running the world. Because either she's going to run a gang in prison or she's going to be a president somewhere.
I say that Molly's going to be a criminal defense lawyer defending police or something. And it's like not a joke. Like they are going to be sensational. You know what?
Yeah.
Sensational, strong women, but they're so hard to parent. And what I wanted for my girls, having 3 girls, is strong independence. So I've done that.
Yeah. And now we're like, oh man.
No. And so as it's happened, and sadly we had to go through all that sort of trauma with their mental health. I'm not saying that that's going to be your path. I'm just saying we were sort of forced to do it. The more, it's exactly the same. The more I'm connected with her when she's really feels disconnected. We have had life-changing things happen in the last year. Dad finds it really hard and is still really disconnected, and they all love each other, but that's his journey. So that's what I'd say is know that it's normal, and that it's ebbs and flows every day, and start afresh every day. And truly remember to go out barefoot on the lawn and just for a few minutes do the box breathing. It really does regulate a bit. It really does. And that's what saved me at times that are still pretty chaotic here now.
Yeah.
I'm a different parent because I can do that. And I've worked on not having grudges, and I've worked on not being hurt. And that's the thing, that it takes time.
At what point, though, do you also then have a conversation with them? Like, because it's all good and well you say, just, water off a duck's back, be all cool about it. But what point do you then say, especially with like teenagers who can understand, like what you're saying is actually really horrible and it's not okay. Do you just do that after? Because
Yes,
obviously in the moment they're all spiced
yes.
up and angry.
So absolutely.
Because
So
you still want them to be nice people and know that it's not
yes, but
okay.
you're a nice person.
Mm,
So let's not forget that, right? Monkey see, monkey do, and we forget about
mm,
that, right? So when children, when in those difficult situations, you can, because you're learning every day. I'm still learning. This is our first rodeo every day, you know? And I say that to my kids, you know, mummy's learning every day. I'm trying my best, you know, having those conversations is lead by example. So even
yeah.
if you are a shit show for 10% or 20%, 30%, let's say 70% you're, you know, pretty calm and stuff, you're winning, right?
Yeah.
She needs to see you're upset. She needs to see that you get angry when she pushes you. That is how she
Mm,
learn, right? So you, by the person you are, she will be a good person. It's just
yeah.
she's showing you that, right? So
Yeah.
then when that happens and you feel strongly about it, yes, again, when you're having a cuddle and whatever, you know, when you said that today, that really hurt mummy's feeling.
Mm,
You know, absolutely have that conversation. Do not
yeah.
say it when she's fiery because she'll just call you some bad name, you know?
I know this morning she was screaming at me, but she was like, "You made me upset," and I said, "Well, you made me upset," and we we're just going back and forth,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like not very nice to each
Oh, I
other.
know. And you know
But
what?
then she was telling me,
Yeah,
keep talking to me." So I just stopped. I turned the TV off. I just stopped and ignored her because I was like, I don't know what to say. But she obviously like needed that connection. But I'm like, I don't know how to give it to you because even when I talk to you, you're still
yeah.
screaming. Oh, it was so confusing.
She is smart. She's spicy.
Yes.
She's dysregulated. She's not to be
Mm,
regulated. And, you know, we as mums aren't regulated often either, you know, and it's not our fault. So it's not fair on us that we
yeah.
have to be the adults and regulate in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
So absolutely have those nice, beautiful conversations about that when she's
Mm,
calm, you know. And if she's not calm, then the next day you might be driving and just go, you know, yesterday you called me,
yeah. Yeah.
that really hurt mummy's feelings. And, you know, I don't like it. And no one else would like it either, you know, like just
Mm,
literally. And I know you think, oh God, it's so hard. It is. But all of these little conversations, you will find over years, she'll get a
yeah.
bit better. Over months, you know, like that's the biggest thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, I wish I could click my fingers too, but it doesn't
Me
happen.
too.
It doesn't happen either. All right,
No.
thank you, love. Okay, can you mute yourself and then
Yep.
so Louise, do you want to come on or not? See your lovely face talking about your toddler. If you don't want to come on, that's fine. So Louise's question was, what if your toddler is still a bit young to understand the incentive option, or even me saying lay down and I will stay? Yeah, so depending on age of toddler, 100% is that when you get the masterclass, you're just going to basically stay there. So, you know, it would be again, it's a bit more detail in the masterclass, in the PDF. It's basically bringing the chair in and just the same boundary. You know, lay down, mummy's here, or shh, 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 shh. So all of that is for when they're older and they understand for sure. But if you're in that middle stage where they don't understand, then you gently lay them down, you know. So reach out once you've read the PDF and stuff. If you've got any questions, just DM me. But literally, you do the same stuff that's in the PDF, which is sitting beside them, repetition, shifting the chair, keeping the boundaries, not saying no, giving them cuddles, you know, give them cuddles till they're calm, put them back in the cot, you know, nice firm hand on them. Again, all of this is in the PDF. And so literally you do the same thing, but you can't use an incentive or consequence. And that would be the same for any of the children that I work with that are not toddlers. It's the same sort of idea of supporting them to make the change, but not using that. So hopefully that makes sense. Whitney, did you want to come on, or is Whitney gone? Whitney might be gone. Okay, Whitney might not be there. Okay, so Whitney, hi Donna, my 2-year-old in March absolutely refuses day naps unless at daycare. Wicked. That happens at daycare. I'm worried it's too early to drop the nap, but when we do, he's happy. He doesn't wake often during the night and usually sleeps 7 till 7. Great. Should I bring bedtime 6 to help navigate a no-day nap? Also, any tips on the nights he does nap at daycare? He will wake there at 2:30 and often it's a long bedtime. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I can't turn camera on. Okay, sorry, multitasking. Okay, so lovely that he has naps at daycare. I don't know how long he's refused at home. It's exhausting. But if it's been months and months, he's not going to do it. What happens is they end up having FOMO, all that sort of stuff. If it hasn't been long, DM me and I'll help you through that, because I think still give them the option. But if it's just too exhausting and you can't, then what I say to parents is, like, at day, when they're at home and they're not day napping, favorite movie on the couch, favorite blankie, favorite teddy, turn the light down, and they might go to sleep, right? And then an hour, hour and a half max at this age for a two-year-old. And at daycare, they need to maybe just an hour to hour and a half max. So do that. And then I would bring bedtime a little earlier to help with any of the night waking. So it might be 6:30. Again, if you're having trouble with that, message me. But you might find that works. But if 7 to 7's working, he goes down okay. Maybe don't change it too much. Daycare day, yes. So I would try and cap the nap a little bit, and you need to be doing nearly a 6-hour wake time. So again, is he sleeping better during the night, the days that he has a day nap? I don't know. But if he sleeps at daycare, amazing. That's great. That should catch up a few of the days that he's not having it. And it's just temporarily going to be a 9 o'clock bedtime. I know it's a very long day. I don't know if he goes down well at 9 o'clock. So if he goes down well at 9 and sleeps till 7, amazing. You're just going to have to sort of wear it out for that time while he's still having a nap. And then probably within the next 6 months, they might drop it, and then it's an earlier bedtime. He doesn't go down well at night. He does at 7. Maybe sleeping on you. That's all right. No worries. Okay. He does. Okay. So he doesn't go down well at night, but does at 7. So again, does he go down at 7 when he's had a day nap? Because that's amazing. Great. But if he goes down well at 7 on a no nap day, then that's a bit of a pain. So say he wakes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so maybe if he's waking at 2:30, 9 p.m. earliest in nap day. Okay, so he might be having cortisol surges, which means that firing, and you might be missing it because you're busy with the baby and stuff like that. Not your fault. But I would do a 6-hour wake time. So bring it to 8:30, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can't do my maths. 8:30 rather than 9. Again, is dad home by then? If you've had a baby or got a baby, maybe he needs that one-on-one time with you, mum, so 15, 20 minutes of just you with no baby attached to you. I don't know if that's doable. So again, all of this stuff I've been talking about, have a look at it, try to start using all of that, and then and look at the PDF and then ask me any questions around that. But I would be working 6 hours wake time max, and then you doing one-on-one, and hopefully maybe another parent's around to take bubs. So hopefully that helps a bit. Confused. That was Louise. Okay, so I've done Louise, I've done Whitney. I think that's all. Yay! And I think I've done it in an hour. Yes, nearly an hour. How amazing. So thank you so much for coming today. It's very exciting for me to start talking about toddlers. Like I said, I really love it, and everybody needs sleep. And I just find that parents, as sad as it is, are really at the point that they really want to do it. But I just want you to know you're all doing amazing. Really normal to be absolutely exhausting, really normal to not like your toddler at times. Don't feel bad about it. You're amazing. They know they're loved. They don't know they're not liked, because we still do the best we can. But a well-rested toddler is a happier toddler. Their behavior's better. Their eating's better. Like, it is a miracle. So thank you so much. Give me feedback. I'd love your feedback in the Masterclass PDF. Again, it's just getting you started. It's not a be-all, end-all in regards to 100% fixing. Like, it could and it should. Give yourself a month. But if you get stuck, please, please, please know that 100% I'll be able to help if you end up doing the one-on-one with me, because one-on-one is unlimited access to me. There's so much tools that I give you. I'm literally there, and Paige is there if you get Paige to help you every day and every night until you get your kiddo sleeping. So thank you so much. And I hope you got enough out of it, because like I said, there's so much for me to talk about this on this topic. And I just needed to fit enough into the hour for you to feel like, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and then I can give you good enough advice. Thank you. I got a thank you from Samsung. Thank you from everybody. I've loved it. I think, we'll continue to do it. But thank you for being my first people to be doing my toddler stuff. So have a great day. I'll get that through to you and get the recording and everything through to you, and ask away. Have a good Sunday and good luck. Good luck with parenting. Bye.